Hello, and welcome to Dungeons&Dumber, an actual play Pathfinder podcast. This is the official first episode after the pilot, and today we are joined by Katie, Tim, Bob, and Vic.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
And I'm Aaron, the DM. So, where we left off with last session, we had kind of an introduction to everyone's characters, and had a little bit of, like, let's see, what do you call that?
Prologue?
Yeah, a little bit of a prologue, yeah. So, Vic is a rogue with a monkey, and he robbed somebody and stole their belt.
The monkey did it.
Tim got into an arm wrestling match, won, and then beat up a dwarf.
He was asking for it.
He was. Yeah, the dwarf actually provoked that fight. And Bob played a cool song and got everyone in the tavern like all riled up. And
yeah, that song was good.
It was pretty great. And Katie is a newcomer.
Hi, I'm new.
And she'll be introduced in this session. So before we get into the game, let's just talk about our experience playing RPGs in general, then specifically like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. So I'll begin with myself. The very first time I played Dungeons and Dragons was when I was like a kid. I was probably like 7 years old. My brother was into it, and he had a few friends that played, and so I tagged along, and we played D&D 3.5 edition, which is the edition that Pathfinder is based off of. So I'm really familiar with like the rules and all the systems. So that's why I chose to start our first campaign on this podcast with Pathfinder. And then a few years ago, I decided to run a game in person, and Vic was in that game. And so Vic and I have been playing in-person Pathfinder games for a few years now. How long do you think that's been going, Vic?
Probably like 5 years.
Oh shit, okay, 5 years.
Wait, no. 3 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, 4.
Katie, why don't you tell us about your experience with like RPGs in general?
Well, I don't have any D&D experience except for one play session with friends, but that kind of fell through because of scheduling. But I love RPGs. I've played RPGs for a long time. Some of my favorites are the Dragon Age series. One of my favorite games of all time is Dragon Age Origins. For the reason most people like RPGs, the fact that you get to create a character and make decisions that impact some kind of world, and you get to see it, and it's really cool. I'm also a big fan of the Elder Scrolls. I play, just some other games, like RimWorld, Minecraft. I like games where I can either make decisions or impact the world in some way. So,
all right, but this will be your first, like,
this is my first D&D experience.
Yeah, legit tabletop RPG.
So I will have a lot of questions.
And that's fine. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot away, because one of the things I want is to help raise interest in Pathfinder, and so if, in doing that, I want it to be kind of accessible and beginner friendly. So the more questions you have, since I'm coming from a place of having kind of played for a long time, a lot of what seems second nature or like obvious to me probably wouldn't seem obvious to someone who's just starting out. So it's really good that we have a total beginner on this. So what about you, Tim?
Well, I've been playing RPG video games for my entire life, mostly JRPGs. But I've only played Pathfinder or any of this kind of tabletop game once before, and that was with you, Aaron.
Yeah, we had a game going back at school in our dorm, but that only lasted a few sessions.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, and it was ill-fated. So hopefully this time, this this campaign will be more successful.
And what about you, Bob?
Sure. So I've been playing tabletop RPGs for about 4 years. I started out on 5th edition. This will be my first Pathfinder game. But I have some experience as a player and a handful of games I've DM'd myself. Before I started doing tabletop, though, I used to play a multi-user dungeon back in the early days of the internet that was based on the Dark Sun setting of D&D 2nd edition. So for like role-playing type games, since I was like 12 years old, and that was completely focused on, character-driven stories.
Cool. And that's kind of the game I want to create with all you. I want it to be character-driven, role-play heavy, a little lighter on the combat than some of the games I've run in person. I feel like as an audio-only medium, combat, for the sake of combat, could be a little boring, so I want it to be more narrative-driven. Let's go ahead and get into it. Where we left off, you spoke to a man named Isaac, and I'm going to go ahead and retcon him a little bit. I made him sound kind of like a younger guy. He's actually going to be like an older traveler type guy, which is why he needs protection. Because he's not really a fighter, he's more of a scholar.
Is he still a very religious man?
Yes, he's still religious. And so it is noon, and everyone assembles outside of the Touchy Gnome Tavern. In leaving the tavern, Woodward and Bartholomew are approached by the owner. The owner is a middle-aged male gnome named Jeff, and he says, "How was the room?
It was great, Jeff. Thank you.
Was the bed comfy?"
I slept fine.
Yeah, it was okay.
Was it a good temperature?
I guess so.
Did you notice the smell at all?
It was
smell?
fine.
Did you see
Hold
that
on.
free Bible? Did you get your Bible?
I don't read the Bible.
Listen, man. It was the room was fine.
You're sure there's nothing I could have done better?
What was the smell?
Um,
Did you piss on bed?
and he gets kind of like flustered. I did nothing of the sort. It sounds like you had a good time. I'll be seeing you. I need to get back to my duties. So that's Jeff, the Touchy Gnome, the owner of the Touchy Gnome Tavern.
Yeah, he sure is touchy.
And anyway, so
I don't feel comfortable.
Did you notice the smell, Vic?
I did. Now I think
Did
about
it smell good?
Nope.
Okay. So you meet up outside of the inn, and there is Isaac. And he's just kind of waiting there. And so you two meet there, and then Darius shows up a couple minutes later, still rocking a massive hangover, but he's, it's alright.
For sure, he would sleep until the last possible moment before he rolls out of bed and stumbles towards the bar.
Yeah, is he like a little disheveled maybe?
Absolutely, he's got like a 5 o'clock shadow, didn't wash his clothes, hair's all messed up.
So that's what the smell was.
I was gonna say he
You
sounds
can
like a
smell it
cop.
from here?
You need a shower, dude.
Okay. So, he says, I see you've all made it. So without further ado, we should get going. First, we need to get a cart and 2 mules to help us carry all my provisions to the temple. Do you know where to do that? So,
Yeah.
why don't you guys would know if you've lived here where to get like a mule, because it's pretty common knowledge for you.
Can I see how much junk this guy has with him?
he has like he's got a fairly big box of stuff. You would imagine that it weighs probably like about 100 pounds, and looking inside, you see coins, some wrapped up like sticks of incense, a couple carvings, a letter, and it's all like, some of it is sentimental stuff, some of it is like an offering to the church itself, but it's heavy enough that it would definitely require some kind of additional like horsepower, I guess.
Sure, I would just kind of sigh and say, like, you said you just wanted a bodyguard, not a manservant. What, we gotta haul your stuff now too?
Well, don't worry, I'll foot the bill. You don't have to haul it, we just need to get a mule and a cart. I don't want you to have to haul this.
Hey, if he's paying for it, then I don't mind getting the mule.
And I'll shrug my shoulders and said, you said you were going to tell me some stories about the gods, right?
Yes.
You got to provide some entertainment on this trip.
Yes, you are correct. Well, let's get the cart going first, and then on our way we can get to that. Is that agreeable?
All right, let's do it.
All right, so you find a stable towards the outskirts of town. It doesn't take much to requisition a cart and a mule. Isaac handles talking to the guys, and so after about 15 or 20 minutes, the mules with the cart come out around the front, and two hands help load his stuff. And then you set out, and it's probably about like 12:30 in the afternoon, and it's a nice day outside. Sky is blue, no clouds in sight, and you know that it'll take roughly a day's travel. So you set out, and it's a pretty uneventful day. On the way, Isaac says, "Now we'll get to the story. So you know that I asked you to take me to Temple of the Earth Mother, as this island calls it. But what they don't say, or, well, what many don't know, is that the Earth Mother had a different name, now long lost to time, alongside the language of old. They call her Mother because of what she does for the people, but I think there's more to the story than that. Though it's hard to be certain of what is real and what is imagined, as stories are vague and hyperbolic. I do often wonder if the gods once walked the earth as we do now, mortals. We do know with some certainty that there is an outside power that courses through the soil of this very island and its inhabitants. Every generation bears several children capable of channeling the very power of the gods. And those from this island touched with magic all speak to her blessings, demonstrate her gifts. I'll get to a little bit more as we go. Any questions? Is there anything?
What do you think, old man? Do the gods still walk the earth?
Oh, I've spent my entire life pondering that. When I was young like you, I used to travel in search of answers to that very question. In my travels, I came across things which gave me faith and things which were not quite so convincing. However, among my experiences, there was one which left me with way more questions than I started with. You see, one time I was allowed into the sealed vault of the library in Shatterhelm, where I found an ancient book written in a language of old. It was filled with unsettling images of creatures that looked strangely like humans, but not at the same time. As I peered at the book, though, it seemed to attack my mind, as I soon lost consciousness. My memory grows hazy, But the next thing I can remember is a guard escorting me out and expelling me from the vault, claiming that I had begun chanting and defacing the library itself. I was never allowed in to that library again since that day. What a pity. I would do anything to visit those halls of knowledge once again. So to answer your question, I don't know.
I guess somebody's got to go after that information.
I don't buy any of it.
Yeah, and Darius will kind of laugh and say, I'll have to remember that one for the next time I'm sitting around a campfire. Tell me, though, in all of your travels, have you seen any mermaids? I'm asking for a friend.
I've seen mermaids.
Well, yes. Though there are mermaids and sirens, just like the legends say, on faraway lands, but it's quite treacherous to sail out that way. Many try to avoid those for the tales of sailors being lured to their deaths on the sharp rocks by hearing the song of sirens. But I only once, spoke to one.
What did it say?
Well, she offered me vast riches. She told me I could be a king and I could have armies at my command and be feared. But not the life I wanted.
Oh, what's wrong with you?
Well,
You remember where she is?
faraway land.
That doesn't help.
One day I want to hear the song of a siren to see if it's as irresistible as they say.
I gotta say, getting a mermaid into a bed isn't easy.
Oh my.
Woodward, do you know anything about mermaids?
Oh, just a little bit.
Pray tell.
You know, I was sailing around some seas not too far from here, actually, as I do. And,
Yes, as you do.
and I came across a group of mermaids who seemed to be looking for some company. And of course, my men and I went right for it, and we had a fun night with the mermaids.
Strangely, I don't know if I completely believe that, but what you say is true. Then all the power to you, my friend.
My men and I on the boat are just the pinnacle of masculinity.
Ah, yes, I remember being young once. But anyway, Darius, to answer your question or to add more, there are ancient artifacts that get discovered from time to time that betray everyone's ideas how this world came to be. But in all my times of travel, I've only laid my eyes upon a single one, and one of my buddies I had known for 20 years. He took the artifact for his own, killed the captain. He only spared myself, and he sent me on a little rowboat, and I managed to get to shore. But, well, I don't know what happened to him or the artifact after that,
I mean, why did he spare you?
because we had traveled far and wide, and we did share a kindred bond, and we both had set out to find the artifacts. You know, we were the leaders of this group, but, well, I can only assume that's why. He had never betrayed me in the past, though, or shown signs of being bloodthirsty, so I can only think that the artifact had some kind of dark influence that clouded his mind.
Tell me, it seems like you know a lot about the gods and about the world. Do you know what drowned the world? I've heard it said that it was the tears of the Earth Mother, but I'm not sure if I completely believe that.
You'd be wise in being skeptical, young one. What drowned the world? That goes way back, far beyond the history of most books you can find. They say the drowning happened 10,000 or so years ago. Nobody truly knows, but some ancient texts find illustrations of vast swaths of land and you compare them to the maps of the ocean these days, there is a similarity to them. It would appear that the mountaintops became the islands that we know today.
Well, I don't mind more sea.
More room for mermaids, right?
You know it.
And as you guys are kind of having this conversation, in the distance you see a man who is by a stopped cart, and he appears to be taking a look at the broken wheel. You know, you see him in the distance, so you can choose how you would like to approach him.
Wait, so his card is broken down?
Why don't you make me a perception check?
Okay. Ooh, 19.
All right,
Very perceptive.
so you're about 100 feet away, and you notice that he is kind of hunched over the wheel, and it looks like he has a hammer in his hand, but his back is facing you. So you think you might have to get a little bit closer to get a better view.
Well, let's get a bit closer, but be on guard in case it's a trap.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll jump off the cart as it's still moving and approach the man and say, "Hey there, buddy. You know, you got a broken wheel there? Just not a care in the world."
Oh,
All right.
no.
All right.
So the man kind of turns back and he says, "Oi, mate. Yeah, my cart. I hit a ditch, and the wheel is cracked, and I could really use a hand. Do you think you could come and give me a hand?"
Sure, I think I would be just focused on the wheel. Being from my background, I would just assume everybody's got good intentions, and
Okay.
I would try to help. Oof.
Oh,
Roll
no.
the 3.
All right, so your character in this situation wouldn't really know, really the first thing about fixing a wagon, but you figure maybe you might be able to lend him a hand in some way. And so I'll say your guy's cart is probably like 30 feet away, and Bob, or Darius rather, got out to approach him. So how close are you getting? Are you like walking all the way up to him to kind of talk to him?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd kind of look at the wheel, see it's cracked, and be like, if we bang it with the hammer long enough, right? I've seen people fix things. I can do this.
All right, yeah. Why don't you give me a hand and try and lift the cart while I get under it? And
I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna be on guard for this moment.
so, are you going to do that, Bob?
I'm gonna say, I'm a thinker. I'm not really a, pick stuff up kind of guy. Hey, and I'll call to the cart that's rolling up and say like, hey, can a strong person come? I mean, I saw you beat up that dwarf. He's pretty strong.
And so you turn around to face the cart at the back and kind of motion to Woodward, but then you turn back around and what is your CMD?
I am 11.
So when you turn back around, the guy, he throws some sand at your face, but reflexively you like throw up your arm and guard your eyes, avoiding having sand thrown in your eyes. And then he whistles. And why doesn't everyone make me a
what was
perception?
But do I keep my 19 for this?
Yes.
Got a 13.
You hear some rustling off the side of the road and some bushes, and you kind of get the idea that there's some sinister intent at play here, especially after seeing Darius kind of get sand thrown in his face. But other than the guy with the broken wagon, you don't notice anybody else. But roll me initiatives, everybody. It's combat.
I got a 14 for initiative.
Oh, I got a 9.
And I have a 5. Well, actually, I think I have 6 because I add 1.
Okay, yeah. Alright, so we'll start with them. So the guy with the cart, he threw sand in your face to kind of blind you for a little bit, maybe to get a sucker punch in, but And seeing that didn't work, he's just going to try and like get a good kidney punch in. He doesn't have a weapon that you can see, but so he's gonna still try and get you.
Okay.
Oh man, your guy is totally like maybe not oblivious, but maybe he doesn't realize the threat or the extent of the threat. But this bandit is just fumbling. He rolled a 5 and completely misses you. Maybe you turned to face the group again, and in turning, you dodged his punch. And you notice there are 4 more guys emerging from the bushes from either directions of the road. They're going to rush the cart. Oh, let me roll something for Isaac as well in initiative. Isaac gets an 8. He's not much of a fighter, but he can still help in some ways. Okay, so Woodward, you get a guy with a short sword charging at you. Actually 2, and Vic, you get the same. So
That's tough.
Sorry, not a short sword. They're wielding clubs. Okay, that one's definitely gonna hit Woodward at 21.
Ow.
And the second attack from the other guy is a 9, which misses. You get slammed with the club for 4 damage. You feel a sharp pain. Let's say you saw one of them and dodged the guy who you saw, but then another guy from the back like hit you. And
What a jerk.
against Bartholomew, you quickly dodge kind of out of the way of both clubs that come at you. And now it's Darius's turn.
So as I see this guy swing and miss, I just pull out my longsword and try to cut him once it's clear that he's trying to do harm.
Okay.
A 15.
With the 15, you hit.
Okay. And I got a 7.
Oh yeah, you give this guy a nice gash just along the chest, and he starts kind of like clutching the wound in shock and disbelief because he thought he totally had one over on you, and then he passes out from the shock.
I'll shout once I do that, like nobody else needs to die.
Why don't you roll me an intimidate check?
Sure. Got a 24.
Oh shit, yeah.
Very intimidating.
You get a 24, and all of the attention is called to you in this moment, and they kind of just see their friend, and they are shaken, which in game mechanic terms gives them a debuff. They don't seem to be completely giving up, but you can kind of tell that they have this like shocked expression of disbelief on their face. Vic, you're up.
All right. So you said they all turned to look at Darius, right?
Yeah.
All right. So there's 2 coming at me. So I'm going to attack one and have Laszlo attempt to steal from the second one that came at me.
All right.
I'm gonna try and stab one in the back with my short sword. That's a 6.
Oh shit. No, that does not hit.
So, if I wanted Laszlo to steal the guy's weapon, would that be a disarm and not a steal?
That would be a disarm.
Okay, so then he's just trying to steal some gold out of his belt, and then.
All right, yeah. You notice that it's pretty common for people to just have belts with like little coin purses attached to them. For the most part, almost everyone is going to have that.
Ooh!
Oh damn!
Laszlo got a 20.
Yeah, Laszlo
Good
is
job, monkey.
really fucking good at stealing shit.
I should get a monkey.
Laszlo.
We should each get a monkey.
Laszlo grabs one of 2 purses off his belt, and now it's Isaac. And Isaac,
He gets to go before me.
yeah, he got an 8. He's gonna pull out a dagger and throw it at the guy that Bartholomew missed. Oh, with a 2, he misses terribly. And he says, "Oh, darn it!" And now Woodward is up.
All right. So I'm gonna want to attack one of the guys that's next to me with my cutlass.
Go right ahead.
And to clarify with the initial roll here, am I applying my total attack bonus as a modifier? Or
Yeah, on your cutlass, you get that +4.
so it's 1d20 plus 4.
Yep.
I got an 18.
Sweet, you hit.
So since this is 18, is that a critical hit?
No. So your cutlass threatens a crit when you roll an 18 to 20, but if you get an 18 because of modifiers, that doesn't threaten a crit.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
No problem.
And so now I'll roll for the damage. Got an 8.
You put a grisly cut on this guy. He brings up his club to try and block, but you cleave not only through his club, but you almost damn near cut his whole arm off. And
Ooh.
he screams in pain, and he passes out from the shock as well. The remaining 3 that are still up notice this, and they're just like, screw this! We gotta warn the boss! Forget these guys, it's not worth it! And they all take off into the woods.
Wise of them.
All right, I rub my hands together and check to see how much gold Laszlo stole.
Okay, well, would you like to take chase at all, or are you fine just letting them go?
I think that we might as well let them go. And I'm sure they dropped a few things.
And as the combat dies down and they run into the woods, you hear some rustling in the bushes and this kind of rattling of metal, as if somebody is trying to get your attention.
Who's that? What's that weird noise?
Sounds like some kind of weird animal.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Could be dangerous.
So we'll approach cautiously to the strange animal.
Okay,
That's so mean.
My crossbow is ready in case.
So anyway, you notice an elf woman gagged and with her hands bound by manacles in the bushes. It seems that she was a prisoner of these bandits, but in the midst of the fight, she managed to begin kind of crawling towards you guys. And then once she heard the bandits kind of give up the fight, she started making a racket so that to get your attention.
All right, so we'll unbound her.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hated walking with those guys.
Oh, why didn't you help us during that fight? What the heck?
I was bound and gagged.
Oh,
Fair enough.
yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, I'm free now. Thank you.
And Isaac says, "Who are you?"
My name is Tintalle the Elf, and I come from a very civilized elven community. My parents are inventors, and I'm very important, so I need to get back there.
Well,
One of these types.
let's see. We're going to Thornhold.
Actually, we're just a traveling theater group, and this here is our manager, and I point to Laszlo, and so you got to take up any problem you have
so
with him.
Cute. Can I hold him?
No, you can shake his hand. That's it. So if you have any problems, you can take it up with him. We're just traveling, nothing special.
Well, if we're a traveling theater troupe, what play are we putting on? I've forgotten my lines.
Don't worry, you're just the stagehand, so you don't have to worry about that.
All right. I know you guys aren't actually putting on a show. I'm sorry. I'm just really stressed. I've been wandering out in the woods with my friends, trying to get to town, and I don't know where we are. I've never left my village before, and I those guys killed my friends. I don't know how to get back. I'm all alone.
Oh, they killed your friend. Oh,
That sounds traumatizing.
yeah. Well, I guess you could just join us then.
Well,
We should probably ask our employer over here about that one.
Well, Laszlo, what do you think? And Laszlo,
We did already shake on it.
Excuse me. I am your employer, not the monkey.
Whoa. Laszlo crosses his arms and looks at Isaac angrily.
Well, as long as my bodyguards here are okay with taking on somebody, you could have safe passage with us.
Thank you. I didn't know what I was going to do there.
Alright, as long as you listen to the monkey, everything will be okay.
Don't worry, you have my full attention.
One more person probably won't be too much of a burden.
So where are you guys going?
We are going to Thornhold, deliver an offering to the Temple of the Earth Mother, because the festival dedicated to her is happening 3 days from now, and so, well, we have to deliver them an offering so they can prepare it.
Hey, we were trying to get to the Harvest Festival. We heard about it, but I didn't know where it was.
It's actually back in Soldier's Landing, which, well, if you travel with us for now, we'll eventually be getting back.
All right.
What does Darius think about all this?
I'll say I'll go too, as long as she has some good stories to tell. That's all I
You
care
and
about.
their stories.
Always with the stories.
Well, what else is there to life?
Drinking.
Singing and dancing. We
I
should
was
know.
going to say alcohol.
Drinking's always better with a good story.
Fair.
Ah, yes. Stories. You know, I wouldn't mind one or two myself. Shall we get going?
Yeah, let's hit the road.
Alright, so,
Count my gold now.
Well, we should check the area before getting on the road.
yeah.
Is there anything in that wagon that broke down, or is it just empty?
You noticed that...
Me.
No, actually, you weren't in the wagon, you were off.
And can I tell
in the
who
bushes.
it belongs to?
Yeah, you notice it has a branding on it. It just says, let's see. I'm gonna generate a random name. It has a brand on it painted on the side that says Lewis Shipping, and it's the same brand as the cart you have, actually.
Ooh, brand name.
And as you kind of look at it, there's actually nothing wrong with this cart. There is no broken wheel.
Oh, that's embarrassing for us.
And what are you going to do with the bodies of the two guys who have now bled out?
Oh, well, let's loot them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see if there's more gold.
I'm gonna loot
I
the guy
do
that
love
I
gold.
got.
And I guess we could drag them into the bushes. And hide
I would
them.
see if there's any mention, any letters or anything that would point to this boss that they talked about when they left.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, man. They would not stop talking about that boss guy.
Oh, what'd they say about him?
Just, we gotta bring her to the boss. Who knows what the boss is gonna reward us with? They were very excited about taking me there.
Why
Did they
would
say where he was?
It doesn't sound like they said anything useful.
Unfortunately, no, they didn't trust me enough.
Each of the thieves has a little pack on them with a smoke stick, a few days' food, 25 gold. One of them has a bag of thieves' tools, and there are also 4 daggers between the two. And Laszlo got the guy's pack that has 25 gold in it
Nice.
before the guy ran off. You also notice a letter, and it just says, what does it say? It says,
Can we read?
no, you can't read. Roll me linguistics to read. Just kidding. It's written in common, and it just says 150 gold for every non-human, 500 for every magic user, and it's just stamped with a wax seal that has a B on it.
Whoa, you're worth a lot of money.
Maybe B stands for boss.
Maybe it stands for a name.
Is it bad? I thought it was a bumblebee.
It turns out Bartholomew is the boss.
All right, that's 650 gold for you guys for getting her. Nice job.
Laszlo is actually the main villain of this whole thing.
Laszlo's the real final boss after you defeat me.
Okay.
But we shook on it.
Well, so Isaac says, I'd hate to just toss these men in the bushes, even if they were bandits. Would you guys mind if, we at least dug them some kind of grave? And
What? No, we gotta get going.
I don't know if I have any digging skills.
Yeah, I don't know how to dig. I just realized that.
I have no sympathy for them.
Well, come to think of it, I don't have a shovel either, so let's carry on then. This has kind of wasted a little bit of time, so we may need to camp out before we get to Thornhold at this rate.
Yeah, where's the sun right now?
It looks like it's becoming dusk at this point. So there's probably another hour of daylight before it becomes very dark.
Can we at least get away from these corpses before we set up camp?
Oh,
Yeah, we could probably keep walking for a while.
yes, I could do with that. So, why don't we distribute the gold? There was 75 gold total.
I'm not going to take any of it.
Okay.
Are you saying I have to share?
I don't mind just taking the 25 from the guy that I killed over here.
Isaac is not going to take any. Well, actually, he
I
says,
wasn't planning on taking any either, but
okay, so the two of you split the 75. So one of you gets 37 and the other gets 38.
Well, you forgot to put Laszlo, so it's like a three-way split.
Oh, hold up. You can share your cut with Laszlo.
Fine.
And
I'll give you the higher amount, though. I'll take the 37.
Okay.
Laszlo shares a single piece. He likes shinies, but he can't hold that many shinies. So, with that, you all gain 135 experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting dark, and you've traveled a little bit more, so you're not camping out by dead bodies. And so you find a nice little clearing with the stream in it, and Isaac kind of takes out a little bit of firewood and begins kind of setting up his sleeping roll. He busts out like a little pan and starts preparing some food. Is there anything you guys would like to be doing during this time?
I'm just gonna relax and count my money.
I'm gonna
does
take a
anyone
look
have
at
an
my
extra blanket?
my sword.
Ooh, I don't have any blankets.
I'll string up a hammock and then sit on it, just playing a couple tunes.
Isaac digs into his box and says, I'll need this back tomorrow, but I can spare a blanket for the evening.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm interested. Darius brought this up before, but you did mention you have a story.
Well, not a very happy one, unfortunately. So, my friends and I, like I mentioned, are from a merchant families. My families tend to make items and their families sell them. So we were on our way to, find some humans that might be willing to trade for elven goods, and we could get some more materials or interesting items in return.
Ah, yes, that. Well, the festival does attract people from faraway lands. Good time to look for that kind of sort.
Unfortunately, along the way, we got a little bit lost. We knew we were heading in the right direction, but we didn't follow the path all the way through. We're elves. We can figure out the forest pretty easily, but human settlements? Not so much. So these bandits, I think they might have been following us for a while because, well, they figured out I have magic and I don't really know how to use it. So I think they must have, watched some things happen around me that I just couldn't control. And then they targeted us and planted their trap.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they jumped us in the middle of the night. My friends were none the wiser, and they took me hostage, and we walked for a couple days before we ran into you. And here we are. Not a very happy story, but a story nonetheless.
Yeah, that's really depressing.
Such is the ways of traveling, unfortunately. What are your friends' names? Perhaps we could say a prayer for them.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can
We
respect
elves
that.
have our own prayers, and I thought them to myself as I departed from my friend's body.
I can respect that. So, Darius, do you have any
Yes.
stories?
Yes. Let me tell the tale of the Salt Offering. It was a ship of some of the finest sailors, finest merchants the world has ever seen. However, after being away at sea, they were caught in a storm. The ship was lost with all lives on board, or so they thought. But some say the ship still sails around the island and captures fishermen that stray too far away from land.
Ah, yes, I believe I've heard some kind of variation of this story myself. I'm familiar.
I've never seen a ship like that anywhere near here.
Would it surprise you if I said that those rumors might have some truth to them?
I'd be surprised.
And with that, it's pitch black outside, aside from your campsite. Everyone's kind of winding down. Is there anything anyone wants to do for going to sleep?
We should probably put the fire out first.
Yeah. There were 4 daggers that you found. How do you want to distribute those?
I'll just take the daggers, unless anyone else wants one.
It could be useful to have like one as like a quick concealed weapon or something to throw.
I might as well take a dagger.
Yeah, I do already have 3, so if anyone wants one before I take any of the remaining ones, now's your
I
chance.
guess I'll have one.
Alright, I get the last 2 then.
Does Laszlo take a dagger?
No, Laszlo has his own sword.
Oh yeah,
He's got a 2-handed longsword.
he's got a letter opener that counts as a great sword.
No, it's like
Oh.
10 feet long.
Oh
Actually, it
shit!
does a d12 of damage, so...
Laszlo is a JRPG protagonist or villain.
So,
I hope he
noob-
doesn't become the villain.
noob question. How do I
Sure.
fill out the dagger on my sheet?
Okay,
I
good
have it.
question.
Is it just a possession, or do I have to, like...
It's in the weapons section. It's like a big gray and black box on the first
Okay.
page.
Yeah.
But there's
So-
more boxes besides just that.
Okay, so why don't you open up Woodward's sheet or Bartholomew's to kind of
Well, my sheet has daggered on it, so you can use that.
yeah.
Okay. So just copy the info.
Yeah, well, you would take your own melee attack bonus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, +2 to conceal.
Oh yeah, Vic was pretty thorough with this. So the damage is going to be a D4 -1 because of your strength modifier. But if you throw your dagger, you're going to use your ranged.
Well, I
So
only have 1, so I'll probably just use it to defend myself.
okay. In the middle of the night, roll me a perception. Or not in the middle of the night, but before going to sleep, roll me a perception.
17.
We all rolling perception?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
Damn.
Oh shit, Darius got a
I
nat
ain't seen
1.
shit.
Darius,
like,
you-
notices
he
the
fell
tree.
asleep.
Yeah, because you had that hangover this morning, you like just honked out. So, Woodward with an 8. You don't really notice anything out of the ordinary. Bartholomew with a 13. You hear some sounds of animals. Have you ever heard, like, mountain lions at night?
No.
Well, they make, like, loud noises that kind of sound like
No way.
screaming. You're a little unsettled by this, but you know that also they wouldn't really attack, like, a group of people and their campsite. But Tintalle, with your low light vision, you see what looks like a small, like, humanoid figure
Oh, I hate those guys.
peering out from, like, behind a tree. You actually catch the reflection of light off his eyes. It would appear that something is spying on you.
God damn it, not again. Hey, guys. Can someone go with me to check this out?
What happened?
Isaac is fast asleep.
I think
What's
there's
going
something
on?
in the bushes. Hey, let's go check out that tree over there.
Just throw some magic at it.
I don't know how to do that yet.
Just
You
throw
cast-
a rock.
You cast magic missile at the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, let me just cast magic missile at nothing.
Cast rock.
All right, let's go take a gander.
All right.
Just about to sleep.
Well, you'll sleep more soundly when we're safe. All right,
All right,
let's
I'm
go
gonna
look
have-
behind that tree.
Also gonna have Laszlo come because he has low light vision, I believe.
Alright, so what are you doing to see? Because it's quite dark outside, and only those with low light vision at this point would really be able to get a good look. Or even at all detect. Maybe not even get a good look, but
Is the fire still going? Can we pull a stick to make like a torch?
the fire would be dying down and probably just embers at this point, so you'd have to relight it.
All right, I'm gonna have Laszlo try and stealth closer to this humanoid figure and use my empathic link to him to feel whatever emotion. Like if it's actually a terrifying creature, I'll know his fear or whatever.
Yes. So why don't you roll me also a perception and a sense motive for Laszlo?
Okay. Okay, perception.
And during this time, what is Woodward gonna do?
I'm kind of like hanging back a little bit, but I'm alert now because of the fuss that they're making.
Ooh,
Oh damn, Laszlo!
that was perception. Got a 30.
Not only did you get a nat 20, Laszlo also has a plus 10. So yeah,
All right.
upon getting closer, Laszlo notices that this is a gnome. He doesn't appear. Well, roll me a sense motive, actually.
Okay. 12.
Yeah. Okay. He doesn't appear to be sinister, but rather curious. And as Laszlo approaches, is he going to do so like stealthily? Is he just going to?
Yeah, I'm doing stealth, so
Yeah. So roll me a stealth as well.
okay. Ooh, 9.
All right. So Laszlo tries to approach stealthily, but accidentally steps into a pile of leaves and rustles it about. The gnome appears to not be threatening, though. So Laszlo gets kind of, you don't feel any like panic or fear even after it shifts its attention to Laszlo. The gnome actually approaches Laszlo and thrusts his hand out as if to ask for a handshake.
Laszlo loves handshakes, so he has to accept. I'll also approach
All right, so
during the handshake.
So what is Tintalle doing during this?
I was gonna say I'm watching this all unfold, and I start to walk towards the gnome as well and crouch down to get an eye.
All right,
Ooh,
I'm gonna
don't
say
wanna crouch down. It'll make him feel bad.
why why don't
Wanna
you
make good
roll
eye
me
contact.
a stealth as well?
Oh, I wasn't gonna stealth over.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I interpret.
Either.
Yeah, okay. I interpreted crouch down as trying to be stealthy, but okay.
No, I'm just like getting into conversation level.
She
Like,
made a
hey, little
short jump.
guy.
He tilts his head quizzically and starts speaking in a language you don't understand, but you can roll me a linguistics to see what language this is.
That's a D20, right?
Yes. You should have a linguistic skill, actually.
Oh, I only got a 10.
With that, you kind of get the idea that this is one of several languages. It could possibly be like Sylvan. It could possibly be like a fairy language. It might even be like Goblin. Or you've heard of a secret language that druids speak. And, you've never heard it, but out in the woods, who knows what you might run into. But so he kind of speaks, and he seems strangely like boisterous, as if he's pleasantly surprised. And he does like a little motion with his hands, and you see these magical lights kind of swirling around, and it gives you like this peaceful feeling.
Ooh, I do like this.
You would recognize this spell as Dancing Lights. It's a common cantrip, and it seems that maybe this gnome is a child, not even like an adult. But he looks at either Bartholomew or Tintalle after he does that, as if expecting that you reciprocate in some way.
All right, hang on.
It's magic time. Your magic. Got to figure it out. Right now.
Right now, immediately. This very second.
It's time for you to learn.
I am learning. Give me a sec. Can I lift him up with Mage Hand? That lifts things, right?
Mage Hand
Make
can
him
only
fly.
well, it can only move up to like 5 pounds of things, so you wouldn't be able to lift him up, but you might be able to like give him a high
Can I, like,
five
spin
or
him
rustle his
around?
hair.
Oh, I like the hair rustle. That's cute.
Oh no, that might be offensive.
This whole
He's a
thing sounds
kid.
very, you're looking down on him pretty hard.
He's a child.
Okay, so a supernatural hand kind of shoots out from Tintalle, and he notices this, and then it like pats him on the head and rustles his hair a little bit, and then he laughs a little bit and runs farther into the woods, as if beckoning you to follow.
Well, I was about to say it seems like
I
it's.
guess we should all follow him.
again.
And
I don't know. I think it's against our benefit to follow him.
I mean,
But we could go on a magical adventure.
filled with gnomes and other tiny people.
Yeah, we have a job to do, though.
Or we can invite the gnomes.
What time is it?
It is the dead of night.
Okay, so
Ah,
probably
yes.
like midnight, 1 a.m.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess we should probably sleep, and then we can talk about the gnomes.
Laszlo and Tintalle would be able to kind of see a little bit because of their low light vision, but the humans without a torch wouldn't even be able to see anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Laszlo guide me back to the sleeping area.
Well, the campfire still is emitting like
Oh.
low embers.
It probably wouldn't be too hard to revive.
Yeah, you figure if you have like some sticks,
Blow on it a little bit.
yeah. I mean, you wouldn't even need flint and tinder, as the embers would probably be able to revive whatever.
All right, let's leave this mystery in the morning. I'm just gonna go to sleep.
I was gonna ask if you guys were interested, but since
Oh,
I
I-
can't see,
Yeah, that's a problem.
and I'm not interested in going by myself.
All right, so you get going back to sleep, and you all have pleasant dreams. Everyone, add 1 hero point. You feel strangely in good spirits after this.
Did we start with any hero points or no?
No. So you should all have 1 now. And so, just for anyone who's listening that doesn't know what I'm talking about, hero points, if you've played D&D 5th edition, are similar to inspiration, where they let you get advantage on a roll. But in Pathfinder, the idea of advantage doesn't exist. So advantage in D&D 5th is like if you come up with a clever way to approach a situation or use inspiration, you roll your d20 twice and select the most favorable result. And disadvantage is the opposite. But in Pathfinder, the way hero points work is you can use 1 before you roll a d20 to get an additional +8 on the roll. Or you can use it to get +4 after you see the results of the roll. You can also use it to re-roll, and then there's more abstract goals that it can accomplish, where you kind of like ask the DM to see if you can do something that's beyond your character's like limits. Like maybe if there's an axe like getting thrown at you and you want to like catch it, and you don't have the feat that allows you to catch it, you could use a hero point, have your character like do some badass shit like catch it and throw it back, for example. But anyway, so everyone has a single hero point now, and in the morning you get to move on and get to Thornhold after probably a couple hours, and the road to Thornhold is peaceful and you find no more obstacles or people. You enter town, and the temple is actually, well, so Thornhold is the kind of like capital of the island. It has pretty nice architecture. The houses are all kind of built into the land, and they have kind of this natural, regal sense to them. A lot of them have vines growing up and down the sides of them. There's a lot of like nice gardens. There's a nice like flagstone pathway that branches off into different sections of town. You see one way that says like residential. You see another sign that says temple, another sign that says market, and you also know that there is kind of a castle somewhere in town, although there's no signs that point to it. So anyway, Isaac points everyone towards the temple, and when you get there, you find a big wooden temple that seems to have been grown into the shape of a building rather than manually built and assembled and put together with like nails and screws, as if somebody was capable of shaping the very wood itself. As you approach, you see vines overhanging the entrance archway. There's no door, it's just a nice open archway, and there's vibrant flowers of all colors growing in a garden outside. Strangely enough, it looked like there was this green carpet, but as you enter, you notice there's no real floor, but it's soft mossy ground on the inside. And you're approached by someone who appears to be in the clergy wearing these robes, and she says, "Hello, could you please take off your shoes and leave your weapons by the front while you're in the temple?"
Well, I guess so. And I start taking out all 5 of my daggers, my crossbow, my sword, my thieves' tools, just to try and get a reaction out of her.
I set my dagger down, but I do not have any shoes, so I cannot take those off.
I'll do what she asks, take the shoes off, and lay the sword in the corner.
I'm just gonna put my crossbow and cutlass down and keep my dagger concealed.
Okay. She actually doesn't seem to be surprised at all at Bartholomew's like armory that he's just carrying on him, because her attention is focused on Laszlo and the sword Laszlo has at his side.
Oh.
And she's like, "God, that monkey is cute. Did you know how to use that sword?"
Yes. Why don't you show her, Laszlo? I'm gonna have Laszlo take out his sword and do a little like fencing stance and do like a little performance.
She kind of chuckles to herself and says, "Oh, I can tell you two have a bond."
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And then Isaac kind of walks up and he says, "Hello, Mira. Good to see you." And she says, "Isaac, I haven't seen you in years. I wouldn't have expected to see you here at all. I didn't know you were alive after, well, what brings you?" And Isaac says, "Well, I figured I would pay my respects, and so I brought an offering for the festival." And Mira says, "Oh, yes, of course." And then she motions to some other people kind of in further down the temple, and they go out to your cart and start taking Isaac's box of supplies and offerings. "Thank you. I would love to catch up and chat, but as you could see, we're quite busy preparing all these offerings for the festival. But, well, what is everyone's name? I'm sorry, I'm so rude, I forgot. I was so impressed with this monkey here."
Well, I'm Bartholomew, and the monkey's name is Laszlo.
My name is Woodward.
And I am Darius Van Allen. And I'll just grab her hand, not even waiting for her to extend hers, and just kind of shake it.
Hello, Mira. I'm Tintalle.
She accepts your handshake, and then she kind of bends down a little bit and shakes Laszlo's hand, because Laszlo has actually extended his hand out as well. This little guy is very well trained. How do you all know Isaac?
Met him at a bar while getting drunk.
Yeah.
That's about it.
They found me in the woods.
Oh yeah, her friends were murdered.
Yeah, just mention that again.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. You have a place to
It's all right.
stay?
Not exactly. But these lovely gentlemen here have offered their protection and comfort.
Okay, that's good. And then she thinks for a moment and says, Van Allen. Oh, I knew I recognized that name. You're their son, the Van Allens.
Yeah, as much as they don't like to admit it, I'm related.
Well, a pleasure to make your acquaintance. They've been quite the help in, building up the island. Anyway, and then Isaac kind of cuts her off and says, this group, aside from Tintalle, they are my escorts and bodyguards. I have hired them to take me here and back to Soldier's Landing, and, well, I will definitely take you up on catching up after the festival. But we should probably get going. I don't want to bother you too much. Mira says to you, well, if you're his bodyguards, and certainly you must be capable, and if you're looking for work, well, you could come back here after the festival, and we'll have plenty of work to be had. The church pays quite well.
Got a lot of gold, then.
But Isaac is right. We should get back to our duties. So we'll have to bid you adieu for now. But we'd love to have you back. And Isaac says, yes, I'm sure we'll be back. So you carry on and we'll see you later. And then motions to you guys and says, is there anything you'd like to do in town, or shall we start making our way back?
Is there any money lying around here? Like on the ground?
No.
How would there be money on the ground?
There's no money just around.
Miss the
Just
basket
checking.
and throw their offerings around.
You just start digging in the offering box.
I think I'll leave the holy people alone.
All right.
Did you want to head back to the cart? Or
Yeah, I mean, I was more interested in Soldier's Landing than anything else.
all right.
Let's see, would my folks own like an apartment or a house in Thornhold?
They would have a
Ooh,
place
your
in
parents'
Soldier's
house.
Landing.
Sure. I
But-
was kind of racking my brain to see if there was like some liquor cabinet in like another vacation home that I could, open the door, clean out the bar, and then leave. But
Oh, yeah.
if everything's in Soldier's Landing, then absolutely.
Oh, you know that. Well, I figured you were asking if they were like here so you could visit. But there
Oh, no.
is a kind of like vacation home that they rented out to some people when they're not there. But yeah, there's definitely some kind of place you could go that would have just that.
Sure. So I would say like there's 4 of us now. There's enough for a party. Let's see if we can get a party started.
Oh, let's
I'm
do
the
it.
old man.
Oh dear.
Well, after all this, I do admit I could use a drink.
Ooh.
All
But-
right.
Would it be agreeable to have one on the road?
I'd rather stay sober on the road myself.
You don't drink and drive.
Well, the mules are not going to be drinking, I presume.
Oh, I guess it's okay then.
Well, if we see more bandits, then we're gonna want to be attentive.
Yes, okay. What if we camp out halfway through, like we did last night, and then have a drink then?
I
Ooh,
can
we should
agree
try
with
and, try and find the gnome spot.
Ooh, yes, maybe we can follow them this time.
Are
Alright.
gnomes like common? Like there would be gnomes in the cities, or are they kind of like seeing a unicorn?
It's closer to seeing a unicorn, you know that they're known to be very shy and reclusive, having their own like communities. So you might kind of take the sighting of that gnome as like a pretty rare occurrence.
Sure.
Wait.
So I would think like I've never been to a gnome party before, and kind of like daydream about how crazy the gnomes get in the forest.
Well, I actually would be interested in taking a detour this gnome party myself.
Gnome party.
Hopefully they can hold their liquor.
And with that, we'll end here. So thanks for listening, everyone who's been keeping up, and we'll see you next time in episode 2. This has been Dungeons and Dumber. I've been Aaron.
Yes, you have been.
I was gonna make fun of that first.
Lay it on me, Vic. Lay it on.
It's too late now. He got it. He got it before I did.
All right. Take care and have a good night, everyone. Or good day. Whatever. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna just cut this whole end thing out other than the thanks for listening and see you in episode 3 anyway.
Oh yeah.